What's up, old school homies? Let's talk about the highest graded gems, minerals, uh, rocks, crystals. It's all the same thing pretty much. When you want the highest grade, it's going to be less of it. It's more scarce, more expensive. Um, Sometimes they sell a lot better. Sometimes it's harder. Okay, like there's two different perspectives on like if investing in something really expensive is a good idea or not. The first one, all right, there's about three different perspectives I have on that. There's got to be more. But the first one is, does anybody else know about it that wants to buy it? You know, if you ever wanted to sell it. Because sometimes people think something's really rare, and it is, and that's why it's so expensive, and it is. But then it's like so not known about that nobody really finds a market for it. It happens all the time. You find something extremely rare, it's just not marketed, nobody cares, it's not expensive, you know? So watch out for that. The highest graded stuff is stuff, and the most expensive stuff is stuff you've never heard of. But you have to wait for the right buyer to come along to buy that stuff, you know, like could take a lifetime to sell some of the more expensive stuff, because most of the time people don't flex on the price of the highest graded specimens. They get proud or something. I'm the same way. They'll put a freak out price on it, and then you'll give them the money for the freak out price, and then they'll be like, "No, I still don't want to sell it," you know. Like, and the reason for it is they're irreplaceable, basically. And once you get into that category, it's just any price can command, you know? It's not available. It's literally just not available. And people go nuts for that kind of, well, I can't have it, then give it to me. It's like, no, you can't have it. Well, I'll pay more, you know? And then it's called inflation. You don't want to impose inflation on yourself, but people do it a lot. So, knowing what the highest graded specimens are could just be something that's not available anymore. Might not even look that cool anymore, but since there's not very much of it, people want it. You could look at it in a monetary sense or just in your own collecting experience, but either way, the spectrum is really wide, and that's the coolest part about rock collecting. It always gets wider. The more you learn, the more wide it gets, and then the more you realize, is anything even gradable, you know? No. It's all gonna be a different grade than the next thing. Always. And that's what makes you a better rock collector. If you know the grades, you can start buying things and knowing what the prices are. Knowing when something extremely rare is coming along, or maybe just picking the best thing out of a whole lot and then moving on. A lot of times dealers do that. They'll just decide, well, this is the highest grade specimen out of everything I bought, keeping this for myself. Sounds shallow, but you build like this really tripped out collection after you do that for a long time. You end up with like all kinds of really high grade specimens, and then everybody's just like, what did you do?